Okay. We have to decide whether it's the spring here or some other weirdness is going on. Let me put the bladder back on. It's a very surprising thing that's happened here. Put it in manual. That brings the wheel engaged here. The bladder should be very hard to turn backwards under this circumstance. No, that's for sure. It doesn't seem to have much traction against here. Now, this is not. It's not very rubbery. What happened? I ground that down. You're at the risk of losing another heat clip. It seemed to me the surface is rock hard here. Let's see. Yeah. So I sort of ground off a very light bit of it. I didn't grind off all the bad stuff. Let's take a look at this under a closer camera. I think you can actually see the width of the badness here. I think there's just a very, very hard layer there, and I got fooled into thinking I ground it all off. There's a lot more to grind off. So I'm trying to feel if that's a hard shell just on the outer edge with rubbery material, just, you know, a fraction of a millimeter inward. See, that's very rubbery. Very rubbery. Not so rubbery. Pretty hard there. Pretty rubbery way back here. That's an awful lot to grind off, though. Usually you're just grinding off the surface, basically. This one's actually hard, quite a ways back. Like I'm catching the hard. You can almost see it. You can almost see that there's a line here. Now is that because of the way this is built? Oh, it is how it's built. So it's brought down. And there's a little flat area, a little plane just before you get to the edge. More grinding. That's the diagnosis there. I failed on the initial grind. Okay, I'll get the grind thing happening again. Okay, here's hoping I can make this drill work. If it starts turning, I'm just going to keep my finger on the trigger the whole time. Could be it's not going to even go. Come on, drill. Do your thing. Oh! I never let go of the button. Oh, for crying out loud. There isn't even anything vintage about this guy. Ah, darn it. Okay, gotta get another drill. Oh, for crying out loud. Now I've had to go and get Old Faithful. It's another Black & Decker, but this one is 30 years old. And I think it has its problems too, I think. Hope not. It may be that if I remember right, the speed adjustment is all or none on this. It's no longer variable. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Okay, I'll plug them in. Perfect. A little noisy though. Just back the volume down a little bit. Oh, the screw came loose here. See if that works. And it's grinding off. Yeah, you know what? There's a lot more to be ground off. It's hard to grind the rubber, the soft rubber. It's easy to grind the hard rubber. Oops, it came loose again. What are we doing though? Still feels hard, slippery. My nail's not biting in. If my fingernail's not gripping it at all. It's still just sliding over. So keep grinding. Only this is a bigger grinding job than I thought. Better. Well, that'll get us some distance. Here we go again. Loose. Still not passing the nail test here. Let's keep grinding. As I said before, normally you're just grinding a little tiny bit. This one's taking a lot more. And you know what? Tighten this more. Yeah. And now I should be able to tighten this more. Okay, grind on. Goes so far and then it comes loose. I think it's because I've got the, I should probably have this, anyway, the other way around. It's getting better. Definitely getting a grip now. I need some clean sandpaper so I can see how much is coming off. So I'm going to dump this. Dump stuff like this. Back to grinding. Okay, that came loose. It's come loose right in the drill chuck. It's tight. Okay. Grind them down. Okay, so what's happening now? See, I'm going to grind it up here where the paper's a little bit clean. And watch how much comes off now. Still some coming off, but not nearly as much. So now I will do the thumbnail test. I guess I didn't do this the first time I ground. I was just so convinced it was very, very thin. So now my nail is sticking to it. Put it there. Let me take a good closer look at it. You can still see an edge on it. It does look like there's still like a thin line of material that's slightly different than the bulk of it. I'll give it a little more grind. Okay, I think I've got it. Okay, so I'm going to put this guy back on. That's about the most I've ever ground off one of these. I've had a couple like this that had a lot. Now we'll see what kind of difference this makes. This is usually the main offender in a slipping system. And again, the outside diameter of this doesn't matter in the operation of the record player. Doesn't affect the speed. Down. Go down. There we are. And didn't I have a little brown washer? Threw all the E-clips back together, but I think this is the right one here. Now I can feel the drag on the spindle. I can feel it gripping. Very good. Well, it's a good sign. Let's find out if this really fixed it. Funny it wasn't slippery when it came in here. I grounded a bit and then it became more slippery. Now in reverse, well, it's not very strong. Wait a minute. Not very strong braking, but it's something there. Off you are. Over you go. Yeah. No, you want this up. You want this up so it thinks there's a record to play. Are we ready now? You can see, but the dim bulbs came on in my shop because the amplifier's drawing a fair bit. Let's do a drag test. Oh, that's terrible. That's not very good. That's not very good at all. That's just terrible. There's nothing there. Look at that. You can't spin them backwards when they're running. You can't do that. I'm going to give it full power here just in case there's some element of that in this. No. That's terrible. That's not enough to drive the mechanism. Why you like this, buddy? The only next logical thing is the I'm going to shut her off here. Is the spring that's pulling it. Huh. That's really got quite a bit of there. Sometimes the spring has adjustment holes along here or on the inside. Generally, you just shorten them up. I'm going to take the idler off again. You can see what's going on underneath. Just a single hole. This is a very flimsy spring. Well, we could put a different spring in there, or we can shorten that one. Now, shortening is usually the easiest thing to do. Shorten it up. Let's see if I can get it out of there. Shorten it up. Just take a deep breath and cut it. Maybe 15% of it off. Now we got to get a grip of this end. Can't even see it. Okay, bend it. There we are. Open it up a little bit. Way too much in there. So it doesn't fall into the motor. Okay, we'll hook that guy back on. Now I would think the harder you drive this against the capstan, against this wheel, the more motor noise gets transferred. So maybe they like this to be just, you know, as light as possible. Okay, back together you go. It's kind of a trial and error thing. Pliers, please. Here they are. On with the platter. Okay, so it's in the off position, so the wheel is disengaged. I'll put it in manual with no power. I should pull the spring and pull it in tight. Look now. Oh, well, it was great there at first again, and then it just went loose. Why would that be? I really should lock up in reverse here. Power on. Power on. Wow. Now it's nothing. What's going wrong here? So that's 45. There's something went wrong in there. Something went wrong. Well, there's a lot of pull on the spring now. So can I just stop this easily? I can. Oh, the whole motor stopped. Wait a minute, let me put this on full power here. No, that motor's not going to stop now. Is that what happened there? That's got a fair bit of... I'm pushing... Let me just use the spring here. So it's not a very good test. When the platter's on, the wheel is moved a little bit over. It's going to extend the spring slightly. I think it's still too weak. I think that's really the source of the difficulty here. Never put one on with it running. There we go. Nothing. Nothing at all. It's nothing. Something's not right. Something is not right. The motor's definitely in the right position. There's kind of a limit here. Doesn't really matter how hard you pull on this. Oops. Oh, that's going to turn it on and off, isn't it? Power off. This position is like that. There's no power right now. Feeling the spring. The wheel feels really good. Did I leave a spot on it? Don't think so. More spring power. Inside of the rim. Looks just fine. There's no brake when it's engaged and you try to reverse it. And that really should So yeah, I feel the grip here. You can't really test it against this. I never had one where there was a serious problem in here with. It looks brand new. Doesn't look greasy or anything. I'm just hesitant to just go ahead and keep piling on the spring tension. Put this back here. And that's pretty good. There's something. Did I do something underneath that was blocking the mechanism so it's not getting all the way to where it needs to go? Okay, power's off. This is locked. Lock this. Okay, so I'm going to move the wheel around. Well, I did fool with this a little bit. So there's a spring in here. That's also pushing it. There's another spring here. I've never seen that. There's a metal, just a piece of flat metal type spring right inside here. So when we flip this to that setting, spring up above has come loose. This one is still pushing a little bit. Certainly isn't pushing it all the way. You wouldn't want this to push it all the way. Well, why even have it? Maybe it's to keep this from flopping around. They just want a little bit of spring in there. I don't think it has anything to do with driving the wheel into the Capistan. And what it's hitting is this bar here is hitting the end of its run. It can't go any further. There's no way. There's nothing there. Can't see that there's anything at all that's out of sorts, or even could be out of sorts. We're left with just putting more spring tension in here. Well, we can do something kind of temporary in there too. We could do like a really strong spring and see if that's kind of verify that we're in the right ballpark with spring tension. Now, what if the spring tension is way too high? Well, I guess we should be over compressing this and wear it out sooner. I mean, that ship's kind of sailed in a way. I mean, like the main. I think they'll probably get a fair bit of use when it goes back. So, okay, just kind of muttering here. You shorten that string. I'm going to look at replacing it with an alternate. Okay, not so sure I've got something really appropriate here. That's very weak. That's very, very weak. That's very, very strong. Very weak and very strong. I'm sure it's too strong. Let's just check its dimension here. So that would be relaxed. And pulls it in. Be stretched out that much. Oh, that's double the length. Wow, pull this thing double the length. Oh my gosh, that's too strong. Too strong. Got something else in here. The same guy. Well, I don't know if I've got an alternative here that can be used in terms of a new spring. Because a lot of them are this big. I don't think that's going to work. should we do an experiment? Put in this really strong one and just see what happens. And it's pulling so hard. I can de-strengthen this. Not particularly, because it needs to be it needs to come back short. Like it needs to still have some tension in the short. Sounds like we're shortening this one up again. Oh my gosh, it's almost noon. Yeah. Almost noon. Shorten them way up. You can, you know, metal has a stress and strain limits. Stress limits. I shouldn't say limit. If you stress up metal like a spring and you let go, it comes back. If you stretch it so much that when you let go it doesn't come back, you've introduced strain in the metal. That's the proper terms. Stress and strain. So stress, it recovers. Strain, you've done something to it. It will never be the same again. Oops. Let's come up from under. There we are. Don't need to put this clip on every time, but you see I'm psychologically saying to myself, this is it, I'm done. This will do it. You're lying to yourself, Jim. Okay. Let's see. With Mr. Platter. Actually, when you look at the platter, you probably conclude it's Mrs. Platter. Okay, put it in gear here, no power. Reverse. Something is not right here. It just seems like the more I tighten up that spring, the looser it gets. This is just a horror story. How have I done this? What is going wrong here? Power on. Power on. There it is. Nothing. Whoops. Oh my gosh. How can this be? So if we pick the highest speed, we get the largest diameter capstan on the highest speed, 78. There's just nothing there. Look at that. It's not engaged. It's not even touching. Of course, this is off now, because when this is off, there's a lot of pull on this. It was as if this wasn't even touching the rim. How can we reach some conclusion about where the rim is out here? The rim can't be anywhere but where it always is. I mean, it can't go anywhere. It has to be where it always is. So the only thing that can be wrong is the position of this. So the idea is there's this much play here. I think Did I grind this down so small that it can't reach the inside of the rim now? Is that what I've done? I think that's what I've done. Over and over I said you can always grind these things down all you like. Maybe not with this player. We need that to go further. Or I need to put a different wheel on. Well, let me dig into my old record player stuff. See if we have another wheel. Let's see what we got. Bench is a total mess here. I don't normally like working on a bench full of stuff. I'm the same way in the kitchen. Gotta clean it all up before I start working on it. They are in here, in this phono drive kit. A division of hydrometals. Used to say these are any good. I don't know. Got this at a ham radio flea market. So they're all quite specific in their design. Way too small. And it's a long shot that one of these would work. This is close. That's close. And rubber on it. Back to grinding this. These are all the same. Oh, look at that guy. Wow. They're all the same diameter. Is there some standard diameter that I don't know about? That's almost the same too. Are all these the same? Oh, look at that. Still in the bag. $2.07. For use on an Aero, Bell Sound System, Columbia, Coronado, Decca, GE, RCA, Roland, Silvertone, Traveler, VM, Westinghouse record players. I didn't hear Gerard go by there. I mean, this is a ridiculous long shot. Well, this one's got a post, so I can't use it. There's a critical dimension here. What are the chances? What are the chances of this working out? Well, you know, it's a slightly larger diameter. Let's check it out. So I think I'm learning a lesson here about grinding these guys down. Never had a problem like this. But again, the chances of another wheel fitting in here perfectly is really small. Different heights. Same height. The tire's twice as wide. That's going to cause problems in here. Yeah. Same height. Let's try it. Then I'll grind it down and ruin it. Now is this going to set in here? See, this is recessed, but it won't clear it. Won't fit on this post. Too small in the center. Anybody, somebody, anything at all, go on there and see what happens. I mean, that's the original one. That's why it fits. How about you? You're too high. It goes on. Go on, but what would happen is the speed would be out. And it might be good for experimenting with to prove what the problem is. The problem has to be what I said it is. It has to be I ground this down without meaning to reduce its dimension sufficiently. You no longer have it. I mean, it must have been just barely in contact originally. So the other alternative is to make this thing travel further. And what's stopping it is there's a rod right down here that's in a slot, and it's hitting the end of the slot. Or is it? Maybe it isn't. That doesn't sound like the metal slot. Make sure I don't mix up the good one here. The real one. Okay, too bad record player stuff. There are so many, so many of these machines out there to actually stock the correct parts. Pretty tough. Okay, just get rid of that stuff here. Oh, what a mess. What am I doing? What am I going to do? I'm going to investigate exactly why this won't come further. Take this off, make sure that's snapped down. Limit is right in this mechanism here. There's a stopping piece right here. No, that's grease. That's not a stopping piece. What is stopping it? Yeah, there's a lever right here. It's banging into this bar. I want it to travel farther. I have to do something about this lever. This lever is a fairly large piece of flat metal going all the way over to here. There's no adjustments. These things are usually riveted in place. I'm pretty sure it is. To travel a little bit further, I got to bend this guy and disturb it, which looks like it'd be pretty easy to do. Just get in there and grab it, just bend it down. Let's change the speed control here. Now it's down to here, so lots of room. Or I get in there and I try to file it. That's an awful lot of work. It's really tough to do that. Bending it would be good. So what if this wasn't here? What would happen if this brake wasn't even here? Well, what are they trying to prevent from happening? They're trying to prevent it from what? For crying out loud. So I've been in here too long now. I'm losing my religion. That's what's happening. I'm going to have to stop very soon. So, what would happen if this were allowed to travel a little bit further? It'll run into... Wait a minute, there's a limit right here. Oh, I was looking at it the wrong way. No, I wasn't. So there's a slot through the deck here, and that's what's ending it, isn't it? Oh my gosh! What'd you do today, Jim? Now is this banging into that slot? Oh, it sure is. That's the real limit. Why did I think that other thing was the limit? So I'd have to grind this slot open further, and then this will travel a little further. How would I ever get in there and grind that? Yeah, you know what? Lunchtime has come. Time to stop and think about everything before making some dumb moves here.